All right, we are live. We are kicking. Good to be back. I know last week, I do not recall why we're not able to do it. Oh, yes, we had like events. We had the Dubai AI Web3 Festival. A lot of interesting stuff happening over there. Then some other events. Now, it is event season, so I know it's George's favorite time of the year. It's like Christmas, in a sense.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just pushing. I know I'm pushing it too far.
Yeah, especially the last quarter, you have quite a lot of events in Dubai, isn't it? And it is because of the weather as well, I guess. So it's much more easier to travel in this weather. So yeah.
That is true. And I just came from last evening attended the it's a DMCC event. I was invited by a good friend of mine, Praveen Paul from Ethereum. So he was one of the panelists. So I know he got this quote from someone else, but I have used this kind of like a saying, like data's the new oil. But what he mentioned was data is oxygen, and which actually makes a lot of sense, as we are entering this new era of blockchain plus AI. So data is definitely a key, and where do you get this data from? Have the people who have verified the data, provide the data, have they been compensated? Is it used properly? That kind of thing. And then especially when you come into the banking side of things, you're using other people's data, you're using their data, and is it the bank's data? I know there's a lot to discuss, but I thought it was a really interesting conversation to have that, and that's what happened. And I was happy. I'm glad to have Praveen invite me, and we also had a pretty cool networking session too. So got to meet some interesting people, DMCC, bro, has been leveling up. So if Zahir or anybody else is there, because I've been friends with Praveen for a long time, so he was one of the first people at the crypto center. So a lot has changed. So
yeah.
But again, that's just an example of the testament of what is happening here in the DXB. So yeah.
True, on the crypto center is a massive business environment as well, especially for startups who want to go and do ideal networking as well, isn't it?
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. So I'm just sending a post to Praveen, actually.
Nice. And talking about events, I think in December, we have the king of all kings, the Bitcoin MENA conference in Abu Dhabi, isn't it?
Oh yeah, all right. Yes, sir. That is so true. That is true.
And that is true. Listeners, if they want to go ahead and score a free ticket, I think there is a free ticket available with the code as MARKLE. That is M for mother, A for alpha, R for Roger, K for kite, L for Larry, E for elephant. So just put in that code and you can literally save $300. But more important than that, I think there are 6,000 people who will be attending. And there are a couple of OGs who will be at the event as well. So I definitely do think, our listeners, especially for the Unfiltered chat, can definitely go and score a free ticket. And what about the foundation, Markose? I think you guys have an event tomorrow as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Man, time has flown so fast. Man, it is hard to keep up. But I just want to thank. I just want to thank you for giving me the heads up on the code. So I shared it with the registrants for Oort's first meetup here in Sunnyside, Dubai, called Dubai series. So Dubai rhymes to Dubai. So what's the name? What's the naming convention? What's the meaning behind Dubai? So DE obviously represents the spirit of decentralization. And of course, my goal is to put the buy in Dubai. So it's blockchain plus AI. So we're going to have some really cool conversations on the intersection of AI, the intersection of blockchain, and also most importantly too, we also have partnered with a good friend from Data Secure, Tamangna Basu. So I mean, he had a long history with the Indian defense. He's been in the cybersecurity space, also in AI as well. So and also, now is also Web3 too. So definitely a serious cybersecurity expert. So obviously, we got to talk about operational security, and security is definitely important. I mean, whether it's crypto, but also AI as well. So these things. I mean, I know, like, man, George, I know, like, we know people who do technical analysis, fundamental analysis, but there's a third part, and that's OPSEC, operational security.
Yeah.
And in this case, with DBI series, we're talking about AI, blockchain, and cybersecurity. So we're going to have panels. So, and of course, the first one, we want to make it a social thing. So that way we kind of ease things up, build momentum. And we're also going to have some workshops as well. So definitely, like, George, love to have you in there. But also, most importantly too, we're here in Dubai. So, there are people that are kind of curious to know how AI and blockchain and also cybersecurity can make your business, your side hustle, your venture faster, easier, and reliable. That's the most important thing, right? So, because having great technology will help grow the GDP of any nation. So, I mean, hey, look, we're doing big things, man. We're doing big things. So
Absolutely.
that's the connection with Oort, and also a big shout out to our folks from Bitcoin MENA for giving us the heads up. So, I was able to share it earlier, but also including George too. So we got to share some people. And remember, I think the code is not forever valid, right? It has a deadline, right?
I think we still have 5 more days for that code.
Oh, 5 more days? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I kind of gave people a sense of urgency, like Friday, you got to kind of put my insert my event thing over here. So, hey, I got to do what I got to do, man.
And Markose, you mentioned about DBI. I'm not sure if you know about Sheikh Hamdan. He has a blueprint for artificial intelligence, and it is called as Dubai Universal Blueprint for Artificial Intelligence, which is Dubai. And the website is
nice.
And I used to keep saying this quite often, but I didn't realize it actually was an abbreviation for Dubai. So absolutely genius marketing move as well, I guess.
Man, that's pretty good. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So let's go ahead and kickstart about our Unfiltered chat, Markose, because you missed quite a lot of weeks, isn't it? And people have been busy as well.
Yeah.
Let's kickstart from where we left off, because we did have a session where we talked about the economic data, and that time we were talking about 18th of September, and on 18th of September we were discussing Federal Chair Jerome Powell at the FOMC meeting to go ahead and reduce the interest rate. And a lot of people, including me, were actually anticipating that he would actually reduce it by 25 basis points. But he went ahead and reduced it by 50 basis points. This is absolutely massive, to be honest. I really am not sure when was the last time it was reduced from, or rather, has been relatively consistent and then directly dropped down to 50 basis points. I think it's definitely got to be more than 20 years. Because what happens is he often reduces it by 25 basis points, and then he goes ahead and reduces it by 50 basis points, so on and so forth. But from no interest rate to 50 basis points, I believe it definitely has to be well over 20 years. Now, what is really important to note, Markose, and this is something which we discussed as well, on the week that did actually commence, I believe it was from the 3rd of September till the 6th of September, because 2nd of September was Labor Day, there was economic data that was released every day. And we touched base on this as well. Unfortunately, I hate saying this, so far as US economy is concerned, it is kind of like the worst among the best. So keeping all this thing in mind, he has actually got it and decided to reduce it by 50 basis points. Now if you go back even further, Markose, we had a standalone episode where we talked about Kamala crash, isn't it? Where over $2.9 trillion got wiped off from the world economy, over $500 to $600 billion wiped off from the global cryptocurrency market. So keeping all these things into consideration, what I feel, Markose, is when you talk about reduction of the interest rate, we might see a pump up so far as the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is concerned in the short term. Now, according to me, the short term would be somewhere between, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks. But I wouldn't be surprised if the prices do actually fall down, maybe after 2 or 3 weeks. But hey, all past predictions are 100% right 50% of the time, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. Well said, well said.
And one anomaly, Markose, which I'm wondering, but I'm not surprised as to why mainstream media is not talking about, and this is something which you touch base on as well, that when you talk about the CPI numbers, the information that we tend to look at is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, what happened in March of 2024? There were 818,000 jobs which were accidentally added or intentionally added, but the data was absolutely manipulated. And the only way they found out was because a whistleblower did actually state that they were forced by a certain side of politics to go and add that number, so that during the election period, the numbers will show much better. But unfortunately, or rather fortunately, the whistleblower decided to remain anonymous. And if you actually go to the website, Markose, in the show notes that I've shared with you, there is an official link which actually states minus 818,000 jobs. Now, there is always errors, when they're reporting errors, but the errors is never gone past, let's say, 4,000 jobs. So imagine the difference between 4,000 jobs to 818,000 jobs accidentally added. What is a bit weird and strange is, because it is in the month of March, in March of 2025, this and 880,000 jobs will be deducted. So no matter who becomes the president, technically, there might be a lot of shake-ups so far as the numbers are concerned. It might show that there is a drastic spike so far as inflation is concerned, but we at least know the reason why that thing has happened. So, 818,000 jobs, which is close to, almost close to 1 million jobs accidentally added, isn't it? I don't see why mainstream media is not covering this.
That I don't know where to begin. Again, I think the answer is just like you mentioned earlier, it's all about politics. So, and it's kind of like a random thought I had in mind, because someone asked me about the comparison between economics and politics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to making money, economics come into picture. When it comes to making money, printing money, politics come into the picture. So that's, I'm sure you can get the framework or the gist of what that statement is. So this is what I'm seeing, like, with this manipulation with the numbers. Not surprised. So that's why I check out, like, shadowstats.com and stuff. So you get to see what's the real inflation. But also, like, if you're not living under a rock or living in the bubble, you're experiencing these prices, whether it's rent or food or the cost of eggs or the cost of my pomegranate juice. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm raging, sir.
Yeah, I mean, especially the price of chicken in Dubai. I mean, there's at least a 30 to 40% hike in the price of chicken in Dubai as well. And I always said this, whenever Jerome Powell makes the announcement regarding the interest rate, the very same day or just a few hours later on the following day, the Central Bank of UAE just copy-pastes and does the same thing. So let's say if Jerome Powell increases the interest rate, we go ahead and increase it over here. If he reduces, we go ahead and reduce it here as well. So it's exactly the same. Okay. For our listeners, what I'd recommend to do is, there's a guy called Dante Cook, which, if I'm not mistaken, he might have been an NFL player, but I could be miserably wrong. But he used to work for Swan Bitcoin. He has put up a really excellent video, I think, and it is on LinkedIn. So I think our listeners should definitely check it out, because he's actually talking about why the inflation that they're showing is going down is kind of like manipulated data, and I 100% agree to that. Now, what's going to happen is, because of this information, the prices of Bitcoin and Ethereum is pumped up, isn't it, Markose?
I know. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a doom and gloom kind of guy, but I know the prices are kind of going up. Yeah, happy for some of you guys, but I'm pretty cautious about with the exchanges, I guess, or especially in derivatives. There's a lot of open interests, I guess. So, kind of going long. So I am a little bit nervous. So I don't know. So I am expecting a bad surprise, I guess. So it's going to get. I mean, look, obviously things are going to get better, but before we hit that, the better stage, it's going to get worse. Yep. So I mean, I'm not. I know, my apologies, John. I'm not jumping for joy, I guess. Yeah. So because I'm just seeing like all the what do you call like all the futures and stuff like this, lots of bets going long and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. This is it is questionable. So I'm expecting a lot of these people will get liquidated, going to go down. But the good side is, I'm just waiting for some small checks to come in, and pay my bills and whatever I can save, save it in some, a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of altcoins, So that's, just doing small man things, So.
Yep. And right now, Markose, there's a lot of geopolitical chaos going on as well, isn't it? Right now, you have Israel-Lebanon. Now, those news will directly or indirectly impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Now, look, Markose, we often talk about Bitcoin to be a hedge against inflation and war. Unfortunately, during COVID-19, the prices of Bitcoin did actually go down. When war started between Russia and Ukraine, Bitcoin did not turn out to be a safe haven. Maybe in the next couple of decades, it could be possible that Bitcoin turns out to be a safe haven against inflation. Stable coins definitely turn out to be a safe haven against cryptocurrency volatility. So we'll definitely go and touch base on some news regarding stablecoin as well. The only thing I wanted to say is, Markose, regarding the FOMC meeting, Ethereum has pumped up much higher than, let's say, Bitcoin. And I'm talking purely in terms of market cap. Because Ethereum's market cap was well below the $280 billion mark. It was $274 billion to be precise. It did actually pump up to $325 billion, but it has gradually gone down since the last few days. And that is more because of the burning mechanism, and that is a bit of technical related things. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is, with US elections coming up, I'm really curious to check how the prices are going to react, particularly in November. Now, I'm not sure, Markose, if you're following Decrypt, and a lot of the mainstream media, they have put out a very misleading article. Now, I'm not going to say it is fake news, but it is misleading. What the article actually states is that if Kamala wins, the prices of Bitcoin will be pumping up. That's exactly what the headlines is. And I know people like my dad and my uncle, they just read the headlines and that's what they say. What I'd really recommend our listeners to do is, go ahead and read through the entire report by Vanek. I did actually cover it in my Crypto and Coffee at 8 podcast. What that report states, Markose, says, it just gives a prediction of what is going to happen regarding US elections. They say if Kamala is elected, she is going to be favoring the banking industry. They're going to be printing a lot of money. They're definitely going towards economic recession. Because of that, there is a possibility of Bitcoin prices to pump up, and it might turn out to be a safe haven against inflation. Same time, they've also mentioned that if President Donald Trump gets re-elected, he's going to deregulate and have less regulations, and so far as cryptocurrency is concerned, he's going to hopefully fire Gary Gensler, and that would also pump up the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But mainstream media, they're cherry-picking the news and just putting one side of the story. And I've covered this in my Crypto and Coffee a Day podcast. I believe I covered it on the 24th or 25th. So, our listeners should definitely go and check that thing out as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when Vanek puts out these articles, it is a powerful article, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, for folks who don't know, I mean, it is quite the huge mutual fund.
Yeah.
This is how do you put it? I would say they almost as equivalent to BlackRock in that regard. So and again, let's see, a lot of these guys too, they also have their funds, they have their little grubby hands or tentacles like in media as well too. So I think people need to be aware of the source of their information. So I don't know. Look, I know that this requires time and research and all that stuff. Most people will not have the time to really, question the narrative, ask questions, so it's a tough one. But at the same time too, I just had a comment that like it's because I was taking one of the groups. It's a research group with this a well-known KOL influencer. He's been in the space, I guess 2012 or something. So, but I think he was blown away that like, like especially with the poly markets, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people were betting on Kamala, like,
yeah.
But it's just like crazy. Why? Like, I don't know. This is just, but again, I think this is just like psychological warfare on a different level. So this is what I mean. Again, it's about controlling the narrative again. So, but a lot of people are supporting Trump. Like, I mean, whether they agree with him or not, but they understand, like, hey, you know what, like, from an objective point of view or pragmatic point of view, yeah, better than Kamala or whatever. Like, I mean, and again, personally, like looking at her story and stuff, and she's just a puppet. She's just a puppet on a string. Like, she's not a bright woman. I'm sorry. Like,
Yep.
I know I'm going to get Me Too'd or something, but she's not a bright woman. There are other bright women out there, like the lady from Custodia Bank, Caitlin Long or something like that. I definitely have respect for them.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
No. I mean, not this Kamala Yahoo. So, anyways. I'll shut my mouth.
Regarding Polygon market, I could say the only thing I can say in their defense is, it is intended for people to gamble, isn't it? So even if I'm a Trump supporter, I would definitely go ahead and say that, maybe Kamala will win, because I would want to go ahead and manipulate the market. So, I think our listeners should definitely go ahead and do research. And regarding the Vanek article, I'm seeing a lot of non-crypto magazines or YouTube channels covering it as well, stating that, if Kamala wins, the prices of so-called Bitcoin is also going to be bumping up. And if you actually read through the Vanek article, Markose, it is pretty straightforward and simple. They are not taking absolutely anyone's side. But again, I always say it's the mainstream media. They go and cherry pick and go and put whatever narrative they want to do. And lately I'm noticing is that Decrypt, they've been providing quite a lot of misleading articles as well. And one of the articles that they actually posted is regarding Circle USDC. That Circle USDC is offering customer support in Brazil and another country. And I actually read through the report. I read through the original article by Circle USDC. It does not even mention anything about customer support. But maybe they have got, a new guy joining the company. He's going ahead and putting his own interpretation. Circle USDC has partnered with a couple of businesses. And those businesses are offering customer service. It has nothing to do with Circle USDC whatsoever. But the article is that Circle USDC is now offering customer service support in Brazil and in other nations, which is kind of misleading, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess because if you have a partnership with other businesses or something, so I guess I don't know, like, it's a play on words. Again, it is just marketing again, really. So,
and at the end of the day, now when to think of it, maybe they are successful because we're also talking about it, isn't it? They have got the content, they've got us talking about it as well. Let's talk about our not so favorite topic, Markose, and I send you a screenshot of that as well. And that is to do with Telegram. The moment I saw this, I immediately took a screenshot and I sent it across to you. Because it looks like Telegram is finally bending the
Yeah.
So what is your thoughts, Markose, regarding that? I mean, look, if I was in his position, I would do the same thing as well. Why face you?
Yeah, and I know even for the longest time, with with my folks from Society X, like in terms of market distribution, Telegram is actually really good.
Yep.
So that way, like, it makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised, like for example, like Oort or any other companies would try to create mini apps. It makes sense, it's a question how you do it. So because it's about getting access, expand your distribution in a faster, easier, reliable way. But now when we talk about privacy and security, a lot of folks from the Bitcoin space, even Monero too, they know very well that the privacy is kind of, like I said, it's kind of like squishy, I guess, so, and thing is, the weak link in many of these projects is it's not the people or the customers, it's actually the team themselves. So that's why, like, if you look at other, I don't know, like simple X chat or maybe a session or, I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe Signal also too, like, they don't have the team doesn't have the access keys to it, so, they're out of it. They're like, they cannot get back in, so, or whatever. So, they can build on top of it, but, I mean, in terms of accessing people's data and stuff, that's not going to happen. So, but, this is where, like, because I know, like, Naomi, Brockwell from NDTV, I mean, she has talked about it numerous times, over like 3 years ago. So, I mean, it is kind of expected. So the privacy stuff, and security stuff with Telegram is not a surprise. And see, look, there have been some cases where they did like, release some information and stuff, but, I mean, I cannot, of course, I'm only speculating. So, but in terms of the privacy level, like, it's not peer reviewed as, like, that is the thing with the Telegrams, the EE to E, the encryption. It's not peer reviewed, it's closed source. So,
am I right in saying that his brother has done that encryption? Am I right in saying that his brother's created?
Most likely, yeah. I guess so, yeah, because his brother's a mathematician, but also, like, Kamal, he is more like a product guy, so there will be some involvement. But his brother would be the main, I guess the genius behind Telegram. I don't know about his security stuff, but he should be pretty good too. But it's just, I think the issue I had with the Tron blockchain and also Telegram is that it is centralized.
True, 100%.
That's the fact. Like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, sure, they have, okay, like, the Tron blockchain have validators and all that stuff, but, it's really, centralized, especially those who have, cryptography experience, system design experience and stuff. Like, they're not going to pretend that Tron is decentralized. I'm sorry, man. Like,
yeah.
So, and also they try to do everything by themselves. This is where, like, that itself is a big risk. I get where, in terms of you want to move fast and stuff, I get it, but I also understand the risk in terms of, like, getting other people involved and stuff, like, in terms of getting consensus down, things will move. I get that, but it is centralized, and I'm not gonna pretend that it's not. So,
yep.
But yeah. Anyway.
Regarding the message by Pavel Darrow, there are only two things I wanted to touch base is that now they can go ahead and give the authorities or details about your chat. Now, regarding the chat, there are two ways how it works in Telegram, Markose. One is, let's say, a cloud chat. I'm hoping the cloud chat is, let's say, the group chat that they have. I'm not sure about that. If that is the case, the Telegram team can go ahead and give the authorities information if your chat is based on cloud. But there's something called a secret chats. I'm not sure how that thing works. I've definitely not tried it. If that is the case, Markose, then the encryption is only in our device. So it is something similar to, WhatsApp. I think we touched base on this as well. So what our listeners can do is, if you go to WhatsApp, if you look at, let's say, your friend's contact, and if you click on encryption, it just shows a 60-digit number. And that same 60-digit number will be on your phone as well. And if both of them are matching, that means, the encryption is only on that device. So, regarding the cloud chat, they can definitely go ahead and give information to the authorities. Secondly, now they can also track the IP address. Before this, they could not track the IP address. So, let's say if someone is trying to do any malicious activities, they can literally find out your actual IP address. And now, one thing which I definitely want to stress is, and this is particularly for people or, guys who like to go live. And now, in Telegram, we can't have voice calls or anything, isn't it, Markose, or video messages? At least in UAE, we can't do video calling, right?
Yeah, you technically you cannot, but you need like a VPN.
Yes,
that's
only suggestion I would say is that now you need to be aware of the Harvey test as well. And the reason I wanted to bring this thing up is because Trump's family's NFT project, that is World Liberty Token, that works only on Telegram. They don't have absolutely any other channel. And I'm not sure if they try to go live, because in UAE we don't get access to that. Even Discord, we can't access any of the live, because in Discord there are quite a lot of live sessions, isn't it, which is disabled in UAE. So if any of the startups are trying to speak anything, just double check what you're talking about, because there have been cases in Discord channel. Let's say the founder said that the prices will be pumping up. They have given an indication that you're getting into an investment contract and the prices will be pumping up, and the SEC will directly go and serve your guys notice and then go and sue you as well for that. That is the only thing I can say regarding Telegram. Now, regarding Trump's world, I'm not sure, Marcus, if you got a chance to actually see his Twitter Spaces. His family is launching a token called as World Liberty Token, and they had a live session on Twitter X for almost 2 hours. I would recommend listeners to listen only to the last 30 minutes, and the guy was literally reading off a script. And he actually said that I have 3 laws written right in front of me, because people from the US Security and Exchange Commission are listening to what I am saying, and I have to read it out verbatim. So when the host was asking him something, he was literally reading word to word. So that is what happened.
Makes sense.
SECs are.
I don't blame him. So I don't blame him.
Let's see, Marcus.
All right. What's next? What next we have?
The next thing that I wanted to touch base on, this is something which I did cover in my episode today, that is tokenization. Marcus, we've said this thing. The only reason why there is so much of hype regarding tokenization is because Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, he went on CNBC, the interview 7 minutes, and he talked about, he's not too concerned about Bitcoin ETF. Rather, he's focusing on tokenization, and everyone is becoming experts in tokenization now.
I know. I have met some actually, some RWA experts yesterday. So I'm just like, all right, okay, that's good. That is fantastic.
Oh man! And Chainlink has actually published a report which actually states that the tokenization market itself alone will be roughly around $10 to $16 trillion in just a matter of 5 more years. I'm definitely not buying it. But I do feel that the report is extremely biased. They talk about market opportunities, benefits of asset tokenization. Chainlink, Markose, they have started something called a CCIP, which is Chainlink's interoperability protocol. That could be a game changer, but even then, I don't see tokenization to touch, $10 trillion to $16 trillion. So what I've done is, in my episode that I'm releasing today, which should be out probably in the next 2 or 3 hours, you can go and listen to what that report is and why I think that report absolutely sucks. Because McKinsey, Markose, they had put up a report regarding Metaverse that it would be touching $5 trillion, and that was, I believe, by 2025, and we are just a few months away from 2025. PwC had put out a report that supply chain management and blockchain would be $5 trillion by year in 2020. We are in 2024, and the global cryptocurrency market is not even close to half of that. So when you're listening to any of these reports, just make sure that they have some intentions as to why they are talking about it. But I don't see that thing working out. Yep.
I gotta add this. I'm sure there might be some McKinsey consultants or some folks in the consulting world, who knows, maybe watching this or something, but I don't know. I guess ever since when I was working at American Express, I have met some of these guys, and I'm just like, and I read some of these reports too, like, wow, you guys get paid a lot for a lot of bullshit. I'm sorry, like, geez, man. Especially the one with the Metaverse thing. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it was Deloitte. I'm just like, wait a minute.
That was from McKinsey as well.
That made
And
good. So like, so like, is this insane? So my apologies, we're a little off topic, but there's a reason for that, because the reason I bring that up is, you got these consulting groups, you got these chartered accounting / consulting groups like Ernst & Young.
Yep.
So especially for our Indian audience or people from South Asia, I don't want to bring this up like with this girl she died because of overstress and the toxic work culture, which is not a surprise. But I mean, she was like freaking 24 years old, and then we got like goofy union in finance minister like Nirmala, and then you got these MPs fighting over like about spirituality and having enough strength and stuff. You know what? Like, kiss my ass, but because like it's I don't know. I'm just like it just blows me away, and especially being in the blockchain and the AI space. Like we are using a lot of incredible tools. And a good example, a lot of my friends are using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just a free version. Now, I know you've been using the premium version, and you could do a lot of like overpowered stuff. And honestly, bro, like the reports that you have written, the things you've done, like you can beat these consulting guys. Now, sure, they know the aesthetics, they know the like the ins and outs, in terms of how you communicate and articulate and the science and stuff. Sure, but it's in a matter of time you'll also figure out too. And bro, like I because when I worked at American Express, I know the salaries of some of these people. I'm just like,
yep.
I just cannot believe it. And so I'm sure there are some high level good consultants out there coming from these companies, but like reading all these reports and stuff, like it's going to be like 5 trillion, 21 trillion, it's crazy. I'm looking at CoinGecko right now. It's like what, more than $1.5 trillion? Like, wait, what? Like, come on, so it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Like, I don't know. It's just straight up asinine. I think.
And they sell these reports for a really hefty price as well. Some of them go for well over $1,000 as well.
I know. In that case, look, if you're going to spend like $1,000, buy yourself, I don't know, like a piece of beautiful artwork or something. Like I don't know, like $1,000 artwork hang on the wall. I think that's a better investment than what do you say, buying a just random reports, I guess. I don't know. So,
the only question what I wanted to ask is, for so-called experts in tokenization, and if some of you guys are regulators as well, and the question is really simple. When you talk about tokenization, how does KYC and AML work when you're doing it on an open blockchain? So I'm hoping you're doing it on Ethereum or let's say Solana. You can't do it on a permission blockchain. Then it's not blockchain, it is a software. And after, let's say, you do the KYC, what happens if you sell it, let's say, on a secondary market, and if the person who's actually buying it is, let's say, from a sanctioned countries? I've asked this to quite a lot of people, and you know what, Markose, they've openly said, I don't know the answer to that. And there's a lot of work needs to be done.
Fair enough.
So, I'm even thinking, how can you implement zero knowledge proof? It does not defeat the fact that when it's on a secondary market, let's say if a person is from the sanctioned countries, how does that thing work? And you're talking about real world assets, let's say your property or your bond market, which is kind of legally bounded, isn't it? So if you know the answer to those two, I think it could, and I'm pretty much sure some smart people will actually go and figure it out. So that's that regarding tokenization. And Markose, the next news that I want to talk about, and I do think this is an absolutely massive one, and this is regarding Circle USDC. They are implementing compliance management, and this is with a programmable wallet. Now look, Markose, when I talk about stable coins, I'm not a fan of stable coins because I do think they replace the role of a bank. Now keeping that thing in mind, I do think what they have done is an absolutely genius move, because what's going to happen now is that in the Circle wallet, it will automatically start testing for transactions. Are you making a legitimate transaction, or are you not making a legitimate transaction? So just to give you an example, Markose, let's say if I have a wallet, if I'm sending Circle USDC, based on the information by a Circle, it states that it will actually check if that particular address is in the FATF list. If it is, it will not go through. At least that's what I'm understanding. So that I do feel will be an absolutely game changer. They also have something called as transaction monitoring, which will be coming soon, and also travel rule compliance. Now, if some of our listeners are developers, you definitely may want to check this, because I do feel, Markose, This will give them a very strong competition in a positive way towards Tether USDT. Now, Tether USDT is definitely a massive market share so far stablecoins is concerned. I'm really curious to check how they react to this. If Tether USDT implements this, I really am not sure of the volume of stablecoins, particularly Tether USDT, will actually sustain. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually goes down by 80%, but they might be forced to do that. So, I don't know if you remember, Markose, the very first interview you did of mine, I talked about a war on stable coins. And that news, I do think, gives Circle USDC an upper hand. And I wouldn't be surprised, let's say 3 or 5 years down the line, if Circle USDC is pretty close to the volume of Tether USDT. So, programmable wallets is something which Circle USDC is working on. Now, they are compliant and they are checking for all these transactions. In an open blockchain, I don't like it, but when we talk about stablecoins, because for me they are a centralized project, they have not asked the community for this decision. It is kind of like replacing the role of a bank. So keeping all this thing in mind, I do think it is perfect and ideal for stablecoin issuers to do that.
Yeah.
Do you use USDC, Markose?
Actually, I mean, I do have some, some in USDC. A lot of USDT. Mm-hmm. So in terms of stable coins, I haven't ventured into Athena. That'd be interesting to have. But I am kind of interested to look into stable coins that are built on privacy blockchains, I guess. So that'd be kind of an interesting mix, I guess. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, but I do have some like USDC. Like I'm just I guess from my previous work and stuff. So it's easier for some people. But of course, USDT is definitely the king in this by such a by a far margin. So it's and if you look at the balance sheets, I mean, even BlackRock is kind of jealous too. So if you think about it.
But look, because of the Circle USDC's move of programmable wallets, Markose, I do envision that they might actually the transaction volume will actually be bumping up, particularly let's say when you're talking about retail adoption. So, people will actually want to prefer, or rather, let's say if I'm a business, I would want to use, let's say, Circle USDC, so that way at least I'm compliant. I don't want the government knocking on my door and asking, where have you got this funds from? So Tether USDT will definitely have to come up with a solution on that. And it could be possible that now government institutions will start accepting USDT also. But let's see.
Mm-hmm.
But, and the only thing I wanted to say is Bitgo is launching their own stablecoin as well, called as USDS, which is starting by January of 2025. So that's
another one. All right, yeah. And also Revolut too, right? I mean,
PayPal USD also has that stablecoin.
That's true. Yeah, they were the early. I haven't seen much momentum from them, but it does show how. I mean, remember we talked about the 3 most profitable businesses in our space: the mining companies, crypto exchanges, and stablecoin companies.
Yep.
I mean, that's stablecoins. I mean, it shows what it's huge. It's ridiculously huge. Wow.
And for our listeners, on the 25th of next month, I'm having an event on stable coins where we talk about, what is a stable coin, why stable coin, the different types of stable coins, the algorithmically backed stable coins, the rules regarding UAE to go and launch a stable coin. Can you go ahead and use stable coin for regular purchases? And if any of you guys want to sponsor the session, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com, or if you want to collaborate on the content, you can drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com as well. What do we have next, Markose, on the list?
Okay. I guess we kind of covered the crypto markets. I guess the pump.
Yeah, we covered the meeting. Yeah.
But we didn't get a chance to talk about DeFi. I mean, we talked about stable coins, I don't know if we did, but I don't know if you want to talk about DeFi, I guess.
Decentralized
I know that's your favorite.
and this is my famous, unfortunately, I don't like looking at these numbers because the numbers are not looking good. But what did actually happen is, for the last 4 or 5 days, in DeFiLama.com, the volume of Uniswap wasn't picking up. And despite that, or irrespective of that, the volume of decentralized finance is ridiculously low as well. So anyone who is talking about decentralized finance to be the future, yes, it is the future, but people are just not using decentralized finance. Even decentralized exchanges. I mean, the percentage of people using decentralized exchanges is ridiculously less. And sad to say, but the percentage has actually been going down while the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are pumping up. It would have been great. Let's say people are using a lot more decentralized exchanges. But yeah, regarding Uniswap, I did drop them an email and they went ahead and rectified it. And for some odd reason, DeFiLama.com this particular year, they have been making quite a lot of errors. I'm not sure if there's some newbie joining in, because every 1 month or every 2 months there's some massive error on DeFiLama.com. But this week what I'm doing, Markose, is I'm looking at tapradar.com, where you can tell the decentralized apps that are working on blockchain protocols. And yesterday, Markose, or rather today, I looked at the matrix for Cardano, and I can't even see the numbers. What our listeners could do is go to tapradar.com and just look at the numbers for Cardano. The numbers are really, really scary, to be honest, not in a good way. Which just means one thing: people are not using decentralized apps. Short and sweet, simple. I'd really like to see people.
No, I'm not surprised though.
Yep, yeah. But yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything, Markose, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. No, we did. Yeah. That's. I mean, I wish there's more to say about DeFi. I mean, I wish there's more to say on dApps. I mean, I heard quite a lot of interesting stuff about Cardano, but there is a lot of, I would say, capital, but in terms of volatility, in terms of usage, unfortunately, not so much.
I don't use any decentralized app from Cardano, Markose. Do you use any decentralized app for Cardano? I did do this survey via LinkedIn as well, and I asked 60 of them. Just one of them did actually state that, yes, I do actually use a decentralized app. And even that decentralized app was more to do with Radium, which is technically more in DeFi versus decentralized apps. So decentralized apps, you're talking about apps, let's say like Tinder or Instagram or Facebook, to be working on blockchain protocol, because that is the whole promise of Ethereum blockchain, isn't it? So that it does not work
on that is
entities.
Yeah, I don't know. So hopefully, but hopefully, when it comes to in the question of Oort, right? So, we have our app called the Ale Wallet. So that one, gets you connected. You're able to store your Oort, but also connect you to our second product we have called Data Hub.
Okay.
So basically, we get the community to participate in labeling the data. So at the moment, we can only do imaging. So with the phone and also with desktop too, you could image okay, that's a glass, the content has pomegranate, that's a label, some simple stuff. So we did something with NASA. So that was kind of cool. It's a beta phase. So the idea is to, obviously decentralize your storage, and then decentralize your data and the work on, in the storage itself or whatever, and then, power it up with decentralized compute. So, that's kind of the vision we have. So, we're getting there, because I think we cannot simply just go fully, DApp or whatever, because we are talking to the rest of the world. We're not talking to we're not preaching to the choir, I guess. So, but yeah, so the idea is to get all the blockchain stuff working behind the scenes. So in the end, look, even also sending an email and stuff. no one cares about what protocol it's on or whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't get the job done. I think that's what people care.
Yeah.
And of course, and also most important thing is, that you own your own data. You are in control of your own data. So, and we have been keeping that promise, especially with our Oort storage. So, so definitely, if you guys are coming to the DBuy series, we do have, I will definitely put a QR code for people, the attendees, to get yourself a free 1 terabyte storage, archival storage. So basically, hey, you know what? I know a lot of people, your family, you can also share, you can refer to, all your data is stored, you're trying to, you have to delete some stuff. Hey, you could move all that stuff. It's easy peasy. So.
And is that connected to an email address, or how does that thing work, Markose? Do you have to download an app, or?
Oh, I mean, you could just connect to. I mean, yeah, you could connect to your email, and
see, instead of email, I'd really like to see it being connected, let's say, to Ethereum address or something, isn't it? Because that would be a
yeah.
Or maybe if Oort can come up with their own private key, public key, or something of that sort. I mean,
yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, but I guess at the moment, for regular people and businesses, it's just much easier to, either sign up with your own email or just connect to your Google sign in. But I think eventually too, I'm hoping to, work with SUI, where they have the ZK login. So, that itself should, offer that decentralization, but also that great user experience that people are used to.
Yeah.
So, because the idea is that we don't want to complicate the user's journey. That's the thing. So, that does require some balance. But behind the scenes, your data is decentralized, it's sharded, so makes a lot of sense. So.
Yep. The only thing I think of is, when you talk about data being sharded, regarding these servers, are they controlled by Amazon, or how does that thing work? I really am not sure. And this is more at a macro level, not necessarily Oort Foundation related. With general,
No, sure. Yeah, I mean, the kind of system that we are using is that we are using, super nodes and edge nodes. So edge nodes, think of your phones, or even also we have our own Deimos devices. So they kind of look like mini PCs, but you can store your own data and stuff, and you can also participate in the Oort ecosystem.
Yeah.
Be a validator and stuff. So we have partnerships with Tencent Cloud, Seagate, a really solid company. We have also going to soon partner with some other bigger ones as well. So basically, we are combining big data centers to all the way to your edge devices.
Yeah.
So it is a combination of working with big data centers, but also we have validator nodes and edge devices. We have all 30,000 devices and nodes all over the world. So using AI, using decentralized technologies to spread the data out, so that way you're not a honeypot, I guess, so that attracts hackers and stuff. So
yep.
That is what we are offering, and it's just the opposite consciousness of AWS and Google Cloud. So, and also, and when it comes to there are different kinds of storages, but if you're just trying to store some family photos or data for a long time, we do have these archival storage, and they're super affordable. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 60% to 80% lower. So it is very affordable. So it's not out of reach for regular people too. So get you some. Why not? But if you're an enterprise, you want I guess we call the fast in and out data kind of thing. So we do have that for the enterprises as well. So which is needed, because you are moving data, you are storing data, has to also comply and stuff for certain jurisdictions, especially when it comes to data privacy and stuff. So we do have it. So
And I did actually interview, the CEO, Dr. Maxley, and one thing which I really liked, he said that, for technology to go ahead and get mainstream adoption and for people to use it without knowing, as you mentioned, what they're using, it takes roughly around 30 years. So, it does take a lot of time. Now, gradually, that time period might actually go down because if you talk about social media or mobile phone, it does happen in a relatively short period of time. But let's say the underlying technology does take quite some time, isn't it? So, we could actually say that, DeepN is still at the infancy stage. And probably in the next years and coming decades, I'm pretty much sure it will be as close to, let's say, $10 trillion worth of tokenization as
Maybe, I guess so. Even
the $10 trillion, I do feel it is possible, but not by 2030. Maybe 2040 or 2050. It is definitely possible, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that part kind of makes sense because I mean, unless there's some sort of like a weird black swan event, but that black swan usually black swan events do not increase the value; they kind of drop things down, right? Yeah. So it actually will slow down the process. But am I saying that we should expect some black swan events coming in the near future or later future? Yeah, sure. I mean, look around you. But this is where some see it as threats and disaster. For us right here, it's about opportunity. 100%. So, don't be dismayed. I know, sure, it is kind of discouraging, but if you are aggressively patient, oh man, you could have a piece of that future right there. So that's why, but the only reason is because I'm in this space, and also George, you've seen this a lot. So I know we make fun of some of these people with reports and all that stuff, but there is some granular truth. But we also know what they're saying 2025 is going to be 16 trillion. What so we have to be honest with you guys and kind of pick on it. So
yep. And do you have any other updates, Markose, on Society X or Foundation?
Not yet. Not yet. So just all set for tomorrow. So it'll be a fun social, and just looking forward to meet some. Yes, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. At the In5 Tech Center. I guess that's what it's called, at the Dubai Media City. But the cool thing about the In5 is that it is open 24/7 because it is a startup accelerator place. There are a lot of startup founders who do work late at night. So it's it's a kind of cool spot to be. So that's also the reason why too. They definitely appreciate our friends from Data Secure. They're actually one of the In5 startups registered in our place. So definitely good to have those valuable partners over here, and to have these great conversations on AI, blockchain, and also cybersecurity. So because definitely that topic is going to be discussed quite a lot. Because again, we are entering a new era. So, we already are. So, that's so I'm looking forward to that and hoping. And the idea is that I would love to do weeklies. I guess so if I can pull that off, that'd be great. Because I'd love to have people that do panels. Also more workshops for the technical people. I guess for developers. So we will have some events coming up. Not only just us, but October is going to be crazy. November is also going to be pretty interesting as well too. So, want to cater a lot of people. But the most important thing, George, we want people to understand how they can use these technologies for their business, ventures, their own life. I mean, that's something to look into. So that's the story with Oort and with Society X. They're supporting us in this. And we plan to have, actually with Society X, We are planning to make some revamp, I would say. Mm-hmm. The goal is to make it more of a mini community where we invite people. So say, for example, like if me and Anton, and we invite George. And then, we all sit together. Okay. The reason being is that there's so many communities out there.
Yeah.
But you don't get to have this really great conversations, whether it's life or also business too, to be able to articulate. And maybe, I would love to have sessions where like, maybe George, hey, you want to build your own podcast network or something like that, or you have a business idea, we can invite some close friends who are good people, but they also have relevant industry experience. Let's have kind of like a 1 hour or maybe like a 2 hour session on your new venture, and let's,
discuss.
You share your thoughts, and we can cover different areas, So this is going to be, so this is something I wanted to test this out. So hopefully people get the idea, they get the gist of it, and be able to participate and would love to give value. And also, of course, in return, we'll get you on the hot seat, share your idea and, how we could serve, So do it in a more mini community way. So I'm thinking about like 33 people max.
That'd be great.
So that's
so the conversation is more realistic as opposed to just pumping and dumping, isn't it? Now you mentioned about podcasting, Markose. I'm going to put you on the spot. On the 10th of October, I'm going to be having a session. It is completely free, of course, so listeners can sign up for it. It is called as How to Start Your Podcast. And we're giving away 1 hour of free podcasting video by Noor Studio. Now the question to you is, Markose, should I go ahead and give a free Rode mic or USB as well, brand new directly from Rode? What do you think? You make the call, well.
I would give it a hell yeah, man.
It is a stupid question. You wouldn't say no, right?
No, yeah. I would say like, hey, this is like a new Rode mic. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, because there are some people, look, I think because there are people, I've been approached, they ask me about like, hey, I want to start I was thinking of starting a podcast, do this, do that. I'm like, then just start. Mm-hmm. Just start. I mean, like, you don't need to buy the professional software or, get yourself like a fancy blue mic, or just start and build upon it. So, I just people just hit the play button and go with it. So, because I think we are just putting ourselves, way too many restrictions. So, hey, this is a good start. If you're giving like a Rode mic, I'm sure there's someone out there who would kind of like give them the impetus. Hey, you know what? I got it. Want to use it? Let's do this. So,
and there's 1 hour worth of free video in one of the studio called as Noor Studio. It's a really nice and posh and classy one, so listeners can definitely go and check that thing out as well.
Oh, okay. Where is this Noor Studio? Oh, nice. Okay.
So I just send them a message via Instagram because I have another podcast as well, and I get quite a lot of inquiries in terms of how do you go and start a podcast. So I thought let's go ahead and have an event. So on the 10th of October, I do have an event on how to start your podcast. So I go ahead and discuss, solo interviews or solo podcasting versus video interviews, audio, video, what equipment to use, what not to use, the length of the podcast episode, so on and so forth, and quite a lot of other things as well. And let's see, maybe you can try to get in connection with some of the cryptocurrency or Bitcoin space and maybe offer a couple of free coins as well. Let me see, I'll try to offer a Spartan race ticket as well, because Spartan World Championship is coming up and I do have a couple of free tickets. So maybe I'll speak to the team and maybe offer that as a motivation for people to go and start a podcast, isn't it? But yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything, Markose, isn't it? And the other thing, Markose, is I do have another event on the 25th of October on stable coins. So if anyone wants to collaborate on the content, I'm trying to get it done IRL, that is in live person as well. So I've spoken to DXB Innovation Hub. They said they would reply, but they need to do more research. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I thought I may as well go and do one session. If anyone has any contact, let's say with Russell Kmart DAO or the MCC, I'm more than happy to go and do an event on stable coins and why they suck. Why they're absolutely pivotal in the cryptocurrency and blockchain world. Yeah, I think we have covered pretty much everything, Markose, isn't it?
Yeah, that's about it, folks. So we gotta go. So y'all be good, y'all be safe, and we will see you next Thursday. And we might have a special guest. So just waiting for some confirmation. But he has written a book on DAOs. That'll be kind of interesting. He's a researcher in Singapore, so we'll keep you posted, guys. So we're gonna leave you on a cliffhanger. So, Bobinos, catch you guys later.